Don't say a word to anybody. We're about to go tell the CEO, and we're getting in our cars and we're driving to the next agency.
Oh, shit.
That's fucking intense.
Yeah, it's like 6 months into moving to LA, and I'm like, holy shit, like, welcome to Hollywood.
We're exiting Q3.
Yeah.
And we're entering Q4. So, like, you know, this moment represents Q4, which is
Big Shot Rob.
Right?
So yeah, to back it up a little bit, I guess before I let you go right into it,
crazy.
it's, you know, we obviously know that you grinded your way through UTA, you made it through that, and now there's something bigger that came along the path for you. Mm-hmm. So what is that? Where did your journey take you from there?
UTA was a grind. I'm driving Timothy Chalamet to his auditions. Pushing mail to ridiculous agents, and then all of a sudden my boss and the head of the music department, because I got promoted from the mailroom onto a music desk. That was like, okay, I'm taking a desk. I'm now an assistant. Like, I made it, because that's what everybody. You're in the mailroom. You're just like a wandering puppy until somebody's like, yeah, I'll take you. And then so I got chosen for a mail desk or a music desk doing music touring. I'm working for these artists or for these agents. And then all of a sudden they come to me and they're like, hey, come to our office. Don't make any sound. Don't make any facial expressions, because it's all glass offices. You could like tell like what, you can see inside of meetings. And they're like, we're leaving the company today. Don't say a word to anybody. We're about to go tell the CEO, and we're getting in our cars and we're driving to the next agency. We want you to come with us. Meet us in the parking lot and drive away silently, or go back to your desk and you'll probably end up back in the mailroom and start all over. Whatever you want.
Oh, shit.
That's fucking intense.
I love it.
This is like 6 months into moving to LA, and I'm like, holy shit, like, welcome to Hollywood. And I was bold enough to take a big boy shot, and say, all right, well, give me more money. And they were like, oh, like, we can bring whoever we want. And I was like, yeah, but like, I know the clients, I have a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know the accounting, like, come on. And they were like, all right, fine, like, we got you. So at that point, I was the highest paid assistant, I think, in most of Hollywood, or except for other exceptions.
That's why I fuck with Mark, bro.
So it was like $10 an hour at first, and then I went to $15 an hour.
Oh shit,
yeah.
that's a difference. That's a huge difference, especially younger years. Like, what?
Huge difference. 50% increase. There we go, losing mics. So I drive away silently. I go to the next agency. It's ICM. Hollywood Reporter drops. Variety drops. I'm not mentioned because I'm just a lowly assistant. Yeah. But like, it's all like news, and all my friends are texting me like, "Bro, like, did you go with them? Like, where are you? What's the deal?"
And I got paid.
Like, yeah, I'm already in the parking lot.
Exactly. I'm like, yep, already here. And then sadly, ICM didn't work out. It was gloomy. I didn't vibe well. I made a couple really good friends who I think you've met. My boy Akil and some other friends. And then I got fired from that job again, out of the blue. Hey, what did I do? They're like, don't worry, the decision's already been made. I was like, how do I learn? They're like, doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, fuck you. But I was nice enough to stay and train my replacement for 2 weeks while I searched for another job, because it was still paper. Right. And got an offer at CAA, which was Creative Artists Agency, much better agency than ICM. And I moved in from music touring to comedy touring. Did that for 2.5 years. Took a shot on comedy. Loved it, hated it, all of it. Did the grind, made a lot of great friends, including Dax, who we mentioned earlier, who connected us. And then I got close. We signed High Times magazine, old cannabis magazine that's been around since 1974.
CAA signed High Times?
Yeah, CAA signed High Times because they were already buying musical acts and comedians from us anyway. So they were like, hey, like, why don't you just represent us? Like, see if we can do like a comedy tour, music tour. We're gonna do festivals. We're gonna do this, that. Like, we just help be our representation. So I got close to the High Times ownership team, and they were like, dude, like, we love you, like, come on over. And at first I was like, nah, like, I'm gonna stick here and do the agency route. And then like 6 months later, nothing was moving at the agency. Nobody was getting promoted. The High Times approached me again, and I was like, at that point, more ready to make a switch. So after 5 years of grinding the agency world, I took a shot on the cannabis world. Had no idea about it, except that I loved smoking weed daily since I was like, 18 years old.
That's a good fucking reason.
And it was just like, all right, like, let's try this out, like, and it was a big change because I was always like, no, like, I'm the suit and tie guy, and I'm the professional guy, and like, I was always kind of like that since college and whatever else. And then it was like, oh, am I gonna like now just be dressing down and just being like a whatever, like, cannabis guy? Yeah. But like, I knew I could infuse like that professionalism and that whatever else into the cannabis space, because I could be a chameleon in kind of both and lay a nice little middle ground between the drug dealing dinosaurs and the crazy agent types. I was like nicely fit in the middle. Took a chance, went over to High Times, was also kind of an assistant in a way. Like, doing coffee runs, doing whatever runs, and then booking like Ferris wheels and like petting zoos for our festivals and events. And then, slowly worked my way up, took over the Cannabis Cup competitions, and then pandemic hit. Festivals went away, events went away, nobody's doing live gatherings. And the competition, people still wanted to do the competition. They're like, I still want to put my product out there, I still want people to judge it, I still want to win awards. So it was my job to like figure out how to keep my job and how to keep revenue coming into the company, because we were losing ticket sales, we weren't doing events, etc., no sponsorships. So I was like, all right, people want to do this competition, let's make this more consumer focused, open this up. And me and my right-hand guy created a new people's choice model, which instead of judged by 200, homies of homies, it was judged by 2,000 different people from all walks of life. And we got a lot of good traction on that. The brands loved it because they're now getting their licensed product into the hands of all these new retail buyers and dispensaries and the consumers. So we toured that. We did it in California, Michigan, Illinois, Massachusetts, Oregon, Colorado, Alaska, Oklahoma.
Weed in Alaska?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's everywhere these days.
It really is.
Alaska,
Other than Nebraska, where I'm from, they're like, keep it out.
Alaska,
I know, we gotta get Nebraska. Alaska Thunderfuck, that was the big strain out there. So it was a really good model. We did it really well. That was a big win for me in my career for taking that as, pandemic hit, we just lost a big segment of our business. How do I turn this around? And I was granted that opportunity, and I was able to I busted my ass. I traveled more than I ever have, especially during the pandemic. Like, nobody was traveling, and I was traveling every month, being in a new state with new people for 2 weeks at a time.
So it's basically your Q4 is kind of like a Q3 mixed in with a Q4.
It's like the time in the game. It's like staying in the game.
You went from like big agency life. I mean, at that point, I imagine you probably felt like that was something that you were going to do.
Yeah.
Like for a while.
Yeah.
Like you were like, all right, I'm an agency guy. Like, I'm going to fucking keep building this up. I'm going to become an agent, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then this thing just comes in. And so it was almost like you took another pivot, but it was into a lane that you were working with at the agency.
And that's why we were talking about, like, some shots tie the game, but it's still a big shot. Some shots don't tie the game, but they're a big shot within the season. You never know what shot is a big shot when you're in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
True.
Every shot in the fourth is a big shot. It could come at the beginning of the fourth quarter or the end of the fourth quarter. Every shot means something. And so, like, that's where you're at, you're doing things meaningfully. You're like, I'm doing this with intention. I'm doing this to hopefully do this. I'm doing this to do this, right?
Yeah.
And if that takes you into overtime, you're running these plays, like we could be down 10, however you see your season, and just tying it right before the quarter ends when you were down 20, and like you tied the game, you have the advantage now. The team thinks they were up 20 and they lost. Like now we're even. Now it's 0-0. You really, in those moments, like, that team who fought back has the energy, has the advantage. Like, they got the belief. That's what I feel like, you describe, like, what your moments describe. It's like every moment, it like gives you more belief into the next moment,
Even if it's something completely new. I feel like you went through so many like different transitions.
Yeah, a lot of pivots,
but
a lot
they
of shots.
all like tied in to like complete that story and got you to that fourth quarter.
And I think there's a lot of school of thoughts out there that are like, pick one thing, focus on it, specialize in it. That's how you'll succeed. And I seemingly have subscribed to try a bunch of different shit, have your hands in a bunch of different things, and see what you like, and jump if it makes sense. So I jumped in the cannabis world. I pivoted the business into this for the competitions, and it was a nice big win. It made me feel like a real professional, and again, traveling around and just making a lot of great connections, and bringing the bacon home for the company.
I love it.
So I was like I was an all-star there, and then
so what song reminds you?
And now we lead up to an even bigger shot.
Oh, well, we're gonna pause you.
We're gonna pause right there. We'll be back after this section of the game.
He's actually good.
Yeah, I know. That's how you could sit. You could listen to him talk for hours.
You know,
he's a good talker.
I've been living.
Sorry to cut you off. That's like I feel like the common thread through that whole all the 4 quarters of your. You said try a bunch of different shit, but there's like a common thread in amongst all that different shit that you did, and it's the fact that like you're just very good with people. You're very good at like putting things together and putting people together. Yeah. At least that's what I got. You know, that's what I've learned from your story and just the different things that you've jumped into.
Yeah, it's like in for me too, it like stems from confidence and like let's take it way back, right? Like I just mentioned earlier, like, oh, now I get it. You're the baby of the family, right? Like, you know, everybody always tells you you're great, like, you know, growing up.
And there's more to that story too, because I'm actually smack dab in the middle of 7.
Oh, really?
So I've been the baby of 10 years younger, and then I've helped my younger, not helped, but lived with younger siblings that are also 10 years younger than me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's an onion right there. Like, we're talking about peeling back layers. That's a
layer of the onion.
That's a whole nother segment. So, that's very interesting. 10 years above it.
Yeah. You can't figure me out.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. So, no, man, you're very dynamic. I see it. It oozes from you. So, thank you for that. What song? What? Let's talk about what song.
Q4. What's that song for you?
Q4 song,
I believe,
is "On the Road Again" by Willie Nelson.